Hello, receiving teachers, receiving students, and Sixies. Thank you. You may be seated. I'd like you to open to a clean page, and we will do this recapping exercise. Divide this fraction 2/3, divide by 4/7. I will give you only 2 minutes to quickly complete that in your exercise book. Refer back to the steps and methods that we have gone through during the lesson on that exercise. Put your hand up if you are finished. Okay, we will go through the answer to that now on the board. So I'd like a volunteer to come up and show his or her working out on the whiteboard. 2/3 divide by 4/7. Who would like to come up and show the working out to that problem? Okay, let's have Fred quickly. Make sure to write bigger. Check to see that you have all your numbers written out correctly, all your fractions written out correctly. Having in mind we are dealing with fractions here. What must you have in order to separate your numerator from your denominator? Okay, let's have Fred to explain to the class. He's working out on the whiteboard. Thank you, Fred. Class, we should be listening now to Fred. face the class.
2/3 divide 4/7. 2/3 with 10 over the denominators and the numerator. Put the denominator up and carry the denominator down. Then we times it. 2 times 7 equals 14. 3 times 4 equals 12. We can simplify, so 2 can go into the 14 and 2 can go into 12. 2 into 14, 7. 2 into 12 is 6.
Okay, very good. Let's give him 3 big claps. Okay, that's how far Fred can go to or in his explanation. Very good. Now, class, can we still simplify this fraction here? 7/6. Yes or no? What do we call this type of fraction here? Improper fraction. So this is still correct, but we need to simplify that again to a what? Mixed number. Good. So 6 into 7 goes how many times? 1. 6 times 1. 6. 7 take away 6. 1/6. So if you have this answer and this answer, it is still correct. But always simplify by having it in this form. Okay, 2/3 divided by 4/7. Fred has explained how he has come up with this working out. Don't forget, when you are turning this second fraction or the dividing fraction upside down, the denominator becomes the numerator, and the numerator, which is 4, becomes the denominator. The operation sign now changes to multiplication. So Fred, don't forget, we are dividing fractions. So always have your fraction bar. So everything is clear from the board. You should have the same working out in your book also. Okay, we will now go on to our lesson topic for today. Our lesson topic for today is on dividing mixed numbers. Class, we are now going deeper into the mixed numbers, how to divide mixed numbers. As you have learned in our previous lesson, a mixed number consists of a whole number and a fraction. So we should be concentrating when we are going through the learning activities, because after the first learning activity, you have one that you will do as a practice. So I'd like us now to look up on the whiteboard. We will go through that together so that the others who are also learning from our lessons would be following through. When dividing a fraction by a mixed number, here we have two mixed numbers. 4½ divided by 1½. Remember, we are dividing two mixed numbers. The rule still remains the same. When we are dividing mixed numbers, we always firstly change the mixed number into an improper fraction. Can you still remember that from our previous lessons? When you have a mixed number, what do, class? Change that into an improper fraction. So we should be looking up now on the whiteboard. We will go through that together. Okay, we have the same problem here. 4½ divided by 1½. Rule number 1. Rule number 1, class, read from the whiteboard.
Write the mixed number
Okay, write mixed numbers as fractions. Okay, we will change 4 and 1.5 divided or into a fraction. So I'd like us to look very carefully how to go about that. Okay, you have done most of this in your previous lesson. So we just have to go through it together again. We have 4.5. The rule says write the mixed number as fraction. Look at the first fraction here. How many wholes do we have? 4. And the fraction given is 1/2. Can you see where I got my whole numbers from? 2/2. The 2 comes from this denominator, from this fraction here. So because I have 4 wholes, that means I must now come up with 2/2. So in this case, I have 1, 2, 3, 4. These fractions here, 2/2, represents this 4 whole here. The plus sign separates this fraction. Are we following, class? Okay? Here we have 1 whole. That means it's going to be how many? 1 whole will be how many as a fraction? Okay, Emmanuel? 1 whole will be how many as a fraction?
Two over two.
Come again, loud and clear.
2/2.
2/2. Is it correct? Yes. The second fraction that we are dividing 4.5 into is 1 whole, 1/2. The whole becomes 2/2, which is 1 plus half. So now we have changed these 2 fractions here, 2 mixed numbers here, by writing them out as this. We will now go on to step number 2. Class, read step number 2. Read it again loud and clear.
Get the reciprocal of the second fraction and change the operation to multiplication.
Okay, before we go on to that, what do we do with these numbers here? Remember, they have been converted into fractions from this mixed number. So in order for us to get the reciprocal of the second number, let's now add these fractions here before we go to this second rule. We will add all these fractions here, and then from there we go on to the second step. 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 1, 9. Because our denominators are the same, we keep the denominators as it is. So it's 9/2. Having in mind we are dividing. 2 plus 1, 3 over 2. Okay, now we will move on to the second step. So just to guide the other students who are still confused, you might be wondering how we got the next lot of numbers. So Once you have converted the mixed numbers into fractions, or sorry, changed them into normal fractions, you add the fractions. So this is what you should have done in this step here. Step number 2, you have read that out. Get the reciprocal of the second fraction and change the operation to multiplication. Okay, we have we have 9 over 2 divided by 3 over 2. What is the reciprocal of the second fraction? Okay, Minol? What is the reciprocal of the second fraction? Quickly pass the mic.
Two over 3.
Very good. 2 over 3. We just turn the numbers upside down. 2 goes up and 3 comes down as the denominator. So that is step number 2. Step number 3, class, read. Okay, good. You have done this in your previous lesson, multiplying the numerators by the numerators and the denominators by the denominators. This is what we are going to do now from these two numbers here. 9 times 2. Class, 9 times 2. 18. Over. Okay, we'll go back again just for the sake of our friends. When we say multiply the numerators by the numerators, here we are talking about 9 and 2. All over, what are the denominators here? 2 times 3. So 9 times 2, the numerators would be 18 over 2 times 3 is 6. So just to show to the others again how we are getting our numbers. Okay, once we have come up with this figure, 18 over 6, can we simplify that fraction? Yes or no? Yes. Yes. By what? By 3? By what? 6. That's the highest common multiple, where you will get your answer straight on the spot. So we divide 6 into 18 goes how many times? 6 into 18 goes how many times? Okay, this is just the same working out as what we have done up there. 6 into 18 goes how many times? 3. So we simplify 18 over 6. We divide that by 6. And you have given the answer as 3. So 18 over 6, these two numbers all divided by 6 gives us 3 over 1. And your final answer would be 3. 1 into 3 goes 3. So this is the working out to how to divide mixed number by a mixed number. I'd like you to quickly work out the answer to this second learning activity. 2 2/3 divide by 1.5. So you can discuss with your friends on how to work out the answer to that, following the rules that are pasted on the whiteboard. Class, don't forget when you want to write these mixed numbers into fraction, whole numbers, always look at the denominator that are found in the two fractions. Put your hand up if you have finished. Okay, class, who is still confused on how to work out this type of problem? Put your hand up if you have finished. Okay, Emmanuel have finished. Okay, can I ask Emmanuel to come up and show your working out to your other friends so that they can see how far they have gone with their working out also.
Write it on this side here. Equal sign, right? Equal sign onto this side. Move this one up there.
You others follow how he has worked out his answer to that problem.
Justice Maka.
Thank you, Emmanuel. Let's go through that together. I can hear some people are confirming their answers with his that is written on the whiteboard, and they can see that they have the same. So let's see or follow through what he has come up with. 2 and 2/3 divided by 1½ equals. Change this mixed number. He has changed this mixed number into a fraction. Because the denominator here is 3, he has come up with 3/3 as the whole number. So 3/3 plus 3/3, 2 whole, plus 2/3 divided by the denominator in this fraction is 2. So the whole number here would be 2/2 plus 1/2 equals. He has added up all the numerator in the first set of fraction. 3 plus 3 plus 2 is equals to 8 all over 3 divided by 2 plus 1 is 3/2. 8/3 divided by 2/3. Okay, it is just a repetition of this. So we will come straight to this one. 8/3, he has changed the division sign to multiplication, and he has also turned this number upside down. So 2 becomes the numerator and 3 becomes the denominator. So I will just move this closer to that fraction. Multiply the numerator by the numerator. 8 times 2 is 16. Denominator by the denominator. 3 times 3 is 9. 16/9, that is the answer as in an improper fraction. Simplify that into a mixed number. 9 into 16 goes how many times, class? 1. 9 times 1 is 9. 16 times, or 16 take away 9 gives us how many? 7/9. So always write the number a bit far from the fraction. Okay, that is the learning activity, or the working out to the learning activity that you should have come up with. I'd like you now to look at that and also continue with your 2 exercises. Divide these using the steps and methods and simplify where necessary. 2 1/5 divided by 1 1/3. B, 4½ divided by 3 3/4. You can work in your own groups. If you are confused, do not hesitate to ask. I will give you 5 minutes to complete these 2 exercises. Okay, class, don't forget, we are writing the mixed number out as a fraction. Okay, if you haven't completed the 2 exercises, I'd like you to complete that for homework, and in your next lesson, we will go through that together. So 60s and receiving students, I will repeat again. If you haven't completed the 2 exercises, I'd like you to complete that for homework. So in our next lesson, we will go through that as correction. We will now move on to our summary points for today. So I'd like everyone to put your biros down, and we will go through the summary points together. When dividing a mixed number, firstly, change the mixed number into an improper fraction. Number 2, get the reciprocal of the second fraction and change the operation to multiplication. Quickly copy those 2 summary points into your books. Learn to write faster. Number 3, multiply the numerators by the numerators and the denominators by the denominators. And the 4th and the last summary point, simplify the product to its simplest form. Class and receiving students, our key phrase for today's lesson, everyone read from the PowerPoint. Dividing mixed numbers. To the receiving teacher, our next lesson topic is on place value. Materials that you will prepare for the lesson are place value chart, number cards, and markers. With that, we have come to the end of our lesson. Thank you, class, for your participation.